Welcome to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison, Member of Parliament for Niagara West. This week, members of Parliament returned to Ottawa for the beginning of the fall session, and things started with a bang. A call for an election by the Conservative leader who put forward a motion of non-confidence in the federal government. This came after the NDP leader pulled his support for the government earlier in the summer. The federal government is in trouble after losing two critical by-elections, which many commentators said is a strong indication that they no longer hold the support of Canadians. When this type of situation occurs, there's usually an election. However, the separatist party, the Bloc-Québécois, is ironically keeping the government in power, a government that the Bloc has often criticized for being too centralizing. This drew criticism from Quebec Premier Francis Legault, who said that the Bloc should help defeat the Prime Minister instead of supporting him. Watch this exchange in Parliament on this topic.
We've just learned that the Bloc will be voting to keep the most costly Prime Minister and most centralizing Prime Minister in history in power. A government that's doubled the cost of housing, doubled the national debt, increased the cost of groceries, broken our immigration system, pushing Quebec to the breaking point. How can the Bloc abandon Quebecers to prop up this Prime Minister, the most costly and centralizing one in our country's history? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Once again, Mr. Speaker, we see the Leader of the Opposition is only concerned about his own political interests and not the interests of Canadians and Quebecers. That's why we're going to keep investing in Canadians. We're going to be there for Quebecers with health care, dental care, more childcare places, instead of proposing cuts and austerity, which we know the Conservative leader would impose on everyone.
At the end of the video, you hear the Prime Minister criticize the Conservatives about their supposed future plans. However, it's important to keep in mind that at this time, election platforms of the opposition parties aren't quite finished, making the Prime Minister's comments speculative. Some pundits would call them misleading. What's been confirmed as misleading, however, is the next big topic circulating in Ottawa: the government's actions around what is now commonly referred to as the Green Slush Fund. The fund was originally created to distribute money to different environmental projects and businesses. However, the fund has been the subject of investigations and multi-million-dollar scandals for funding projects and companies of the government insiders. Opposition parties have requested more documents, to which the government has been reluctant. This topic was the subject of a member statement in Parliament. Watch.
After 9 years of this Prime Minister, the scandals are adding up and Canadians are paying the price. The Auditor General's damning revelations of the Liberals' Green Slush Fund underscores the depths of corruption happening under this Prime Minister. The Auditor General made it clear that the blame lies directly at the feet of this Industry Minister, who failed in his duty to protect taxpayers. Over $123 million in contracts were illicitly awarded, $76 million to Liberal insiders, including the Prime Minister's hand-picked chair of the Green Slush Fund, who siphoned off $217,000 to her own company. Conservatives demand accountability. We demand that every misspent dollar must be returned immediately. And thanks to Conservative action, the RCMP now has access to all relevant documents, allowing them to investigate and uncover the full extent of this rot. Mr. Speaker, the Liberals have lost the moral authority to govern, and common sense Conservatives are ready to clean house and end this Liberal corruption once and for all.
The important takeaway from this statement, after filtering out the partisanship, is this: the Auditor General found that directors of this fund had awarded funding to projects that were ineligible and where conflicts of interest existed. In total, $123 million worth of contracts were found to have been given inappropriately, with $59 million being given to projects that never should have been awarded any money at all. On top of this, the Auditor General found that over $330 million in taxpayers' money was paid out in over 180 cases where there was a potential conflict of interest, with government-appointed directors funneling money to companies they actually own. This is a very important issue which needs more attention. Joining me after the break to discuss this and other topics is Richard Bragdon, the Member of Parliament for the riding of New Brunswick of Tobique-Mactaquac. Stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll discuss all these things.